Hey, this is Digital Dave with another cryptocurrency and blockchain update. Today, I've got on the call here a gentleman who I've met on a Telegram group, and one of the many cryptocurrency Telegram groups that I'm a part of, and that's where I get a lot of my information from, and where we share ideas. But I ran across Luke here because he was talking about Bitcoin Cash, which I'm a fan of. And he seems to know a lot about Bitcoin Cash and why it could be a really, really great investment and why it might be the number one coin eventually on CoinMarketCap. So Luke, first of all, thank you for being on the call.
Yeah, good to be here.
Yeah. So if you don't mind, tell us about yourself and how you got into crypto.
Yeah, my name is Luke. I live in United States of America. Live in California, Northern California, actually. I got into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in it was like 2015. And it was when Andreas Antonopoulos was actually on Joe Rogan's podcast, was when I first heard of Bitcoin. Because I was already watching Joe Rogan's podcast, and he had Andreas on. And so from there, I went down the rabbit hole. I actually acted pretty quickly, when I kind of invest. A lot of my investing, I would say, is like partially like intuition. And actually, I started buying Bitcoin like a week or two after I learned about it. You know what I mean? Just because, it took a while, but I went pretty deep into Bitcoin for like 2 weeks straight. You know what I mean? Just like try to really get a grasp of it. But I think I actually started buying it before I really understood it. You know what I mean? It takes a while for your head to come around, like mining and like the significance of that, and like what it kind of, how valuable Bitcoin is. And it's never existed before, so it's okay if you don't understand it, especially at first. It's not easy to understand Bitcoin by no stretch of imagination. You know what I mean?
And you don't have to fully understand it to be able to utilize it and appreciate it.
Right.
Because if someone, we could talk for hours about what Bitcoin is and how it works, but most people don't need to know that. But if someone asks what Bitcoin is, and I just tell them it's peer-to-peer digital cash, and that's the short answer, and that's all most people ever need to know. And it's not centralized; it's decentralized, which is, you can go onto that layer that there's no central authority that can approve a transaction. So it's what I call the people's money, and that's what's exciting about it. And we can send money halfway across the world in just a few seconds, and that's exciting. And but I want to get into the Bitcoin Cash now. A lot of people, especially the newcomers, they don't realize that Bitcoin had what we call a hard fork a couple of years ago. So a lot of people don't really know that Bitcoin actually split into two different chains. And the chain that we're going to focus on, Luke, is Bitcoin Cash. Can you explain a little bit of what happened a couple of years ago, if you just briefly, without going into too much detail, and why the two forks split?
Well, I would say first and foremost, it's a difference of vision. You know what I mean? Cryptocurrencies, first and foremost, are groups of human beings, and human beings can have disagreements, right? And it was eventually as a technical solution came to a head. Okay, so Bitcoin and Bitcoin Core, the developers behind Bitcoin, and a portion of the community as well, have a certain vision of how to scale Bitcoin, and that is smaller blocks, rely on things like the Lightning Network, because they want it as decentralized as possible. Right, and they want to keep the node architecture as small as possible, so that it's easier for people to run full nodes and archive the chain. Okay, and then there was a split in the community where a group of developers and the community think that the network can handle much bigger blocks, and there's no reason to stifle a lot of the use cases and the transaction throughput of the chain for these small blocks, because although you can't make blocks infinite, it could handle much bigger blocks than 1 megabyte. And that was the first vision of kind of Bitcoin Cash, and why it's split in the first place is mostly due to the block size limit. And I want to increase the block size.
So what does that ultimately mean, like in layman's terms, to increase the block size?
Basically, it just means that the more transactions can happen every 10 minutes on the chain. And
Mm-hmm.
so right now, Bitcoin can only handle a certain number of transactions.
Right.
The block is
Right.
1 megabyte. If you double the size of the blocks, you double the number of transactions that can happen on the chain.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Okay. So Bitcoin Cash was created to make Bitcoin more efficient. Actually, what there's Roger Ver, who people say, he's kind of the spokesperson for Bitcoin Cash, but he is, but he isn't. A lot of people think that he was, I guess he was instrumental in Bitcoin Cash, but he's not like the Bitcoin Cash guy. He's just like he was not the Bitcoin guy 8 to 10 years ago, even though he was known for promoting Bitcoin and saying this is the most exciting thing we've seen ever. And now he's like, well, Bitcoin Cash is the most exciting thing. But what I understand, Luke, is that what Bitcoin Cash made Bitcoin. Oh God, people are going to kill me for this. They made Bitcoin great again. Okay, so that's what I understand is Bitcoin Cash is the original vision of Satoshi, and so it's not like an improved version of Bitcoin. It's bringing Bitcoin back the way it was, like super fast, efficient transactions.
Right, right. And I want to say that in the very beginning when it forked, I thought Bitcoin Cash was a scam too. I fell into it.
Mm-hmm.
It's when a certain narrative builds and everyone tells you that it's a scam or it's worthless, you believe it, right? And I thought Roger Ver was a bad guy and things like
Yep.
that. And I had
Yep.
to, you have to research for yourself in these things. And when I looked at the history of Bitcoin and the old posts of Satoshi
Mm-hmm.
and the history of it, and you discovered that the store of value is not really mentioned much in the white paper, like maybe once or twice. It's mostly about
Mm-hmm.
peer-to-peer electronic cash
Right.
is
Right.
what he really envisioned. And a word on Roger Ver. Roger Ver is not a perfect human being by no stretch of the imagination. Okay, that's
Mm-hmm.
why he's so. A lot of people don't like him. He's
Mm-hmm.
arrogant.
Mm-hmm.
He does not get along with others very well. If you ever watched the debate he had with Charlie Lee, he was so rude to Charlie Lee.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like Charlie Lee's like super sweet, and he just kind of like didn't just kind of took it. But Ver was extremely rude, interrupting him and everything. So he's just a human being, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean he's wrong about economics. What Ver is very, very good at is he understands the basics of economics. Okay.
Right. Right.
And he understands utility. And a lot of people in our society don't understand the very basics of economics. We're not taught it in school. What I mean, like real economics, Austrian economics. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Right.
And Roger Ver, his specialty is, I would say, is Austrian economics. And so that's why he came around to Bitcoin Cash. Now he didn't fork Bitcoin Cash, and Roger Ver was also not a fan of Bitcoin Cash in the very beginning. He had to come around to Bitcoin Cash.
Oh,
It
that's
was really just
interesting. Okay.
yeah. Bitcoin Cash was really just a group of developers,
Mm-hmm.
programmers,
Mm-hmm.
mostly Amare Sachet, who is the lead developer of Bitcoin ABC. He's really the one that spearheaded it and really decided to go ahead and fork it and build his
Right.
own kind of protocol. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
That's interesting. A lot of people don't know that information, so that's great.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
important to understand that. And Roger Ver is
Yeah.
not the
Yeah.
spokesperson of. I mean, he likes Bitcoin Cash because of its fundamentals, but he has nothing to do with the basic protocol development. Those are all genius level computer programmers, much smarter than
Yeah.
computer
Yeah.
stuff. What Roger Ver understands is economics, and he likes Bitcoin Cash because because from an economic perspective, it has great utility,
Mm-hmm.
and he just promotes it on his own free will. And I think
Mm-hmm.
he does take
Right.
money. He does take money from the Bitcoin.com website. He funds some of the developers and things like that. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
by no means is he's not uh, in charge of the protocol at all.
Yeah. A lot of
Those
people.
are computer programmers.
Yeah. Right. Right. A lot of people think that he is the guy behind Bitcoin Cash, but yeah, because
Yeah.
I've seen in an interview before that he said that yeah, if there was a better coin, a better crypto, he would promote that. And now there probably are better coins. Let's say Digibyte
Right.
is probably a better coin, but Bitcoin Cash is the adoption level of Bitcoin Cash is
Right.
really spreading very fast for payments.
Right.
And even though I think is probably better for payments, but the thing is people just
Yeah.
don't know what Digibyte is. But they know,
Right.
but they know the Bitcoin name, and they don't. Well, it's more people learning about Bitcoin Cash, but they know the Bitcoin name. But the use case for Bitcoin Cash in Australia for September, October, it's like well, they had a conference in
Right.
Australia, a big conference in Australia in September, and then the use case for Bitcoin Cash was 92%, and a lot of the Bitcoin Core, the original Bitcoin, the maximalist is what they're called sometimes, but they were saying, well, the data was just, you're cherry picking the data, but the use case for Bitcoin Cash in October was very high as well. I'm amazed of the adoption rate of Bitcoin Cash for use for payments. And I'm also really the Bitcoin.com website, which Roger Ver was the CEO of, and he's handed that CEO job to someone else. I think is oh God, what's his name? Stephen Roost. I think his name's Stephen Roost.
He's great.
But still, yeah. These are smart people, way smarter than I'll ever imagine to be. But
yeah, Stephen Roost is very smart.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit? I mean, I know you've obviously dug into Bitcoin.com, the website, quite a bit. Can you tell the viewers about the site and what do you think about it and what it does, and what it's for?
Right. I mean, there's a lot of FUD with Bitcoin.com just because it takes the name Bitcoin, right? Mm-hmm. But the site's pretty good nowadays. It makes a distinction between Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. It doesn't really try to trick you into buying Bitcoin Cash and tells you that it's Bitcoin. That's way overhyped. It doesn't really do that. And Bitcoin.com is owned by Roger Ver. Well, he's not the CEO anymore, but he owns the domain. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's just a bunch of sources for buying and selling Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, and things about the protocols and different things you can use, like how to mine, and it tells you how to buy and sell locally for cash, and it tells you how to. It tells you like the Bitcoin Cash, their roadmap. It tells you their roadmap, and it tells you what things are happening, like meetups and stuff like that. It's just mostly a source for information, and in my opinion, it's quite good information. And they have good partnerships, and really, they're kind of like the Litecoin Foundation, except their structure as a business. They're not like, I think from my understanding, the Litecoin Foundation is a nonprofit, but Bitcoin.com is kind of like a Bitcoin business, and so they. If they want if they want something on the protocol, they might pay developers to do some new use case that they might take advantage of, and they make partnerships with, mining pools and companies that might accept Bitcoin Cash as a payment, and wallets and stuff like that. They're just really there to spread the message and provide services that people can use.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. You talked about the peer-to-peer trading of Bitcoin Cash, which I've used, and it's local.bitcoin.com. And not to get confused with localbitcoins.com. That's totally different. Localbitcoins.com is for peer-to-peer Bitcoin Core. Local.bitcoin.com is a peer-to-peer for Bitcoin Cash. Now, I've used it, I've traded with it, and it works great. And it's a peer-to-peer, so you're trading with someone that has a reputation, and you obviously want to trade with somebody who has a good reputation. If they have you have to use caution. It's just like the Amazon model, the eBay model. If you have a great reputation, you use somebody like that. But I've used it. There's no account needed, so it's totally, it's no account needed. That's all I need to say. No account needed, and that's a lot of people want to stay private, and I respect that. But also, I don't know if you know about this, Luke, is that you can also buy and sell physical goods on local.bitcoin.com as well now. So they have their own market for physical goods that you can trade.
Nice.
Pay for Bitcoin Cash. Now I've checked it out, and there's just when I go there, there's only like 5 or 6 items for sale total, and it's just brand new. That they launched it like a week or two ago, so it's pretty new. But I would really like to see this compete with. Saying to compete with eBay is going to be kind of foolish to say that, but I would like to really see it gain traction because just to be able to sell.
Yeah, and also if you want to check it out, people that are watching this can check it out too. A good decentralized version of eBay that uses Bitcoin Cash is it's Open Bazaar, and they have an app now on your smartphone called Haven.
Haven, yeah, I have it as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's quite a few vendors on there, and the app itself I think takes Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah, that's correct. I've messed around with the Haven app, and so everybody check out I guess it's just go to your Google Play or App Store and then search for Haven, Havan, and it's a peer-to-peer like an eBay, like we're saying. And like you said, look, you're right. There's a lot of products, a lot of physical goods for sale on there. So I encourage you guys to check it out and sell some of your stuff that you don't need. And if you want to buy things, there's a lot of stuff to buy on that as well. So yeah, very happy about that. What else, Luke? Can you tell us about Bitcoin? Why are you so excited? Why do you think Bitcoin Cash? I know prior to this interview, we talked about why we both really think that Bitcoin Cash could be like the number one coin on CoinMarketCap, right? Why do you think it would be number one?
Well, there's certain characteristics that you want in a coin for it to do well. And so Bitcoin Cash is in my opinion, it is a technical powerhouse. They have some of the best developers in the world, and they're being very aggressive with how fast they're pushing innovation and putting into Bitcoin Cash. It's probably one of the most, if not the most advanced mineable UTXO chain out there. Because they're very aggressive. Anything new that comes out, any new scientific paper for some sort of algorithm or whatever upgrade they want to do, they're very aggressive with it. Well, we can see that with Avalanche consensus, which is a whole new sort of consensus algorithm. They've been very active in sort of being, upgrading the chain. But that's not everything you want, because what we talked about, like coins like Digibyte, and there's lots of other coins that are also powerhouses, right? But they don't have the liquidity. See, you don't want to focus on one thing too much. You want to kind of, you want to get a big picture, right? And you want to look at everything with a coin. Okay. And what I like about Bitcoin Cash is not only is it a technical powerhouse, but it's on all the major exchanges where you can buy it with fiat. It's on Coinbase, Gemini, it's on Binance. And so it's one of the few coins that's such a powerhouse, but it's on all the major exchanges, so where the average person can buy it. You know what I mean? Which is not true for most of the other coins.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And so that's a big, liquidity is a big deal. Not only the technical specifications of the protocol itself. Also, I really like their new marketing. Okay. Marketing is important. So, if you think of Bitcoin, right, it's kind of like its logo is kind of gold. People say, hey, it's digital gold. You know what I mean? You think of Litecoin, they got a silver logo, and they say, hey, it's digital silver. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Bitcoin Cash now, it's green, and they tell people, hey, it's cash, baby. It's peer-to-peer cash.
Yeah, that was smart. They changed from gold to green to the Bitcoin Cash.
That was very smart. I became more bullish when they did that, because people are used to dollar bills, greenbacks. You know what I mean? Now they have something in their minds too. When they see that green, it stimulates that cash response. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. And a means of exchange is in a lot of ways is more important than a store of value. Okay, so what has a bigger market cap in today's world, gold or the dollar?
Yeah, the dollar.
The dollar by far. It's not even close. And so store of value is important, and so you have to look at the big picture. So a lot of the things Bitcoin maximalists talk about are important. Store of value is important. You want to have the network at least somewhat decentralized to prevent against attack vectors. That is true. Marketing is important. Liquidity is important. Financialization, all these things are important that Bitcoin maximalists talk about are important. But they're wrong about things as well. They're wrong about protocol changes depending on second layer. I do not believe that you want to stifle the first layer to basically push transactions on the second layer, because that's central planning. You know what I mean? What I like about the Bitcoin Cash community from the standpoint of protocol development is they're very libertarian and they're very pragmatic. You know what I mean? It's not really it's not the developer's job to decide what people use the protocol for. And so, yeah, people will probably, peer-to-peer cash is a great use case, and store of value is a great use case. But, but tokens are a good use case too. Not all tokens are worthless. Decentralized finance, like MakerDAO on Ethereum, those new sort of banking smart contracts, those are an important use case as well. And so what Bitcoin Cash, the developers, what I really like about them is they're just focused on improving the protocol. How can we scale it? How can we make it faster? How can we make it cheaper? How can we have more use cases? And then the market can decide what they're going to do with it. Are we going to use it as cash? Sure. Are we going to run smart contracts on it? We're going to build tokens on it, whatever. Whereas Bitcoin, the developers are much more concerned with central planning, limiting the block size and telling users what layer they're going to use, or what it is or what it isn't, telling people to store a value, and not telling people that it can't scale. That community and their developers are much more concerned with telling people what it's supposed to be used for.
Why is that though, Luke? Why do you think that is?
why they tell people what it's supposed to be used for.
Yeah, why have they limited Bitcoin for scalability? And is there, I mean, is there a conspiracy behind that about Blockstream
Yeah,
or?
to a certain extent, yeah. I think
Mm,
part of it is just humans wanting to preserve the money that they've made in it. A lot of those programmers, I think, from the very beginning, are probably have made quite a lot of money just by holding Bitcoin, and they want to be very, very safe to protect their investment. You
mhm,
know what I mean? They don't want to be aggressive anymore with protocol development. But I do think there is you can call it a conspiracy at hand, and I do think that the developers that have control of the Bitcoin Core protocol, for whatever reason, they stopped doing a lot of innovation on the chain, and starting to push it, trying to push second layer stuff. And there's use cases for second layer stuff, of course,
mhm,
but you don't want to stifle the base layer. And
mhm,
there's conflict of money with a lot of Bitcoin Core developers.
mhm.
If you look at like Blockstream and stuff, I don't know if it's a grand conspiracy where it's actually if Bitcoin Core has actually been sabotaged, basically. Um, and even if that is the case, it doesn't matter because we can move to Bitcoin Cash.
Mhm.
That's the beauty of open source software.
Yeah, it's not the most popular opinion to be someone that likes Bitcoin Cash. I mean, do
It's not.
you? Yeah, it isn't. And now I've noticed in throughout my entire life, I've always been the opposite opinion of the masses. Now, getting into crypto in general is like you're way different than everybody else. I mean, you're definitely the black
Right.
sheep. And now, and I call it, taking the red pill. Now, this is like a second layer red pill. It's like,
Yeah.
so okay,
Yeah.
there's Bitcoin, okay,
Yeah.
but now if you dig deeper, or, you and I have dug pretty deep into Bitcoin Cash. That's like
Yeah.
another red pill saying, okay, we're going to be super unpopular,
Yeah.
and we think Bitcoin Cash is going to be the superior, the Bitcoin. I mean, it actually is
Yeah.
superior tech wise. It's faster, it's cheaper to spend.
Right.
It costs less than a penny to send it, as opposed to
Right.
Bitcoin's 50 cents to a dollar currently. But we've definitely taken the red pill, and we're not going to be the most popular people by saying we think Bitcoin Cash is really going to be like number one in coin market cap, in Bitcoin
Yeah.
Core. BTC might slide down a couple of spots. Who knows? It might be position 1 and 2. Nobody really knows. But based
Right.
on based on the marketing and the technology and the passion with Roger Ver, you don't want to mess with this guy. If he's going to do something, he's going to do it. He's going to make it
Yeah.
happen. But
Yeah. I posted
it's
this
it.
on Twitter. You guys can follow me on Twitter if you want. Just Luke Pryor bit. I said Bitcoin Cash is a contrarian investment within a contrarian space.
Okay,
You
that's
know?
interesting. That's exactly
Yeah.
what we're saying. Then that's exactly what we're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It is.
Have you messed around with the Bitcoin.com wallet, the mobile wallet?
No, I have not. I
Okay.
mostly just hold these coins.
Okay.
Mostly because I live in America and it's a tax nightmare. If so, technically in America, if you buy something with Bitcoin Cash, you have to pay
Mm-hmm.
capital gains on it because it's taxed like
Mm-hmm.
gold.
Mm-hmm.
So if I like buy Bitcoin Cash with dollars and then I buy a cup of coffee, technically I have to pay capital gains on that $4 cup of coffee. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so you can imagine, technically, if you're to pay all your taxes, it's an accounting nightmare. So I stopped using Bitcoin Cash as a. I, I don't actually use it, even though I'm a big fan of peer-to-peer cash. Hopefully,
Mm-hmm.
we get better laws here in America. But I
Mm-hmm.
mostly just,
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of
I used to,
stifling, yeah, the
and
government.
I don't mess around with the Bitcoin wallet because I just hold it. I buy it and I accumulate it onto a Trezor.
Okay, okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. Well, I'm a researcher. I call myself the mad crypto scientist sometimes, but I do, I've got a Patreon and a website, so I do research. I dig into projects, and I find out things work, and I do tutorials. So I've been messing with the Bitcoin.com wallet for quite a bit. I play with it all the time, and there's just so many things they keep adding to that wallet. It's a mobile
Yeah,
wallet.
yeah, yeah. They're
But
doing a great job.
the speed of transactions by transacting Bitcoin Cash from that wallet to another wallet, it's there in a second.
Yeah,
And just
yeah.
and
It's so fast.
what they've done such a great job with that wallet too is that if you I wish other wallets would follow this, and I'm sure they will over time. But and one of the buttons on that app is the shop, and it takes you right to how you can spend Bitcoin Cash right from that phone right away. Like it takes you to Travala, which is a travel agency. I think it's just for hotels. You got cheapair.com, which you can spend Bitcoin Cash on Travala and cheapair.com. Cheapair.com is for airfare and hotels. I think you can rent cars as well. But you can also buy gift cards directly from that phone app with Bitcoin Cash. You can buy gift cards for every business just about every business that you've heard of. I mean, just about every restaurant any mainstream restaurant, Home Depot, and there's a way you can actually use Bitcoin Cash to buy things on Amazon as well. So it's just amazing what they've done with the wallet and how they make it easy for the new user to use that wallet and to use Bitcoin Cash as money.
Do they have Purse integrated into it? Is that what you're talking about with Amazon Purse?
They have Purse.io integrated as
well.
well.
I highly recommend Purse. Yeah. I actually know one of the developers. If you go to my YouTube channel, I did a talk with him where I talked about his project and we talked about Bitcoin Cash. He's one of the main reasons, like, he helped red pill me on Bitcoin Cash because he maintains the Bitcoin Cash node for Purse.
Okay.
And he was telling me, man, you gotta look. He's like, man, people don't realize, like, these Bitcoin Cash developers or some, like, Bitcoin Cash honestly might have it's up there with Ethereum. Bitcoin Cash and Ethereum are right there for the level of development talent that is just from a pure talent standpoint. Bitcoin Cash developers are extremely talented.
That's interesting. That's interesting you said that, Luke, because in one of Roger Vere's semi-recent interview, because I think he went to the Ethereum conference a couple of months ago, and he's a big Ethereum fan. And Bitcoin Cash and Ethereum, they're doing something together. I think there's something going on with those, and when if they combine their resource, I don't know what they're doing, but they got a partnership going, and there's something really big going on with those two. But Roger Ver is a big fan of Ethereum, and he said that he says Ethereum has the smartest people in blockchain.
Right.
And so he even said that more than Bitcoin Cash, but I think he's probably being conservative. I like Roger. The more I watch his interviews, I like him more and more. I'd hated that guy, like most people did, like you did too.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, I said, I don't like this guy. He's immature, et cetera, et cetera. But the more I learn about this guy, I've seen his stories and what he's gone through and what businesses he's built. He's a freaking genius, is what he is. But so Bitcoin Cash and Ethereum, I agree with you. I do have some of the brightest developers in blockchain. So it's exciting to be part of that.
Yeah, because the Bitcoin Cash developers in the community, they're smart. They realize, hey, they're not like the Bitcoin Maximalists. Like, are we going to fight the second biggest chain? Ethereum is the most used blockchain, definitely by far. I mean, all the ICOs were on top of it. Like 95% of the token ecosystem is on top of Ethereum. Like all the ERC20 tokens, all the companies. Most of the action is on top of Ethereum. You know what I mean? And so why try to fight Ethereum? Just, you know what I mean? And Bitcoin Cash and Ethereum can work in synergy in a lot of ways. Bitcoin Cash, it has different properties than Ethereum. It can scale better than Ethereum in a lot of ways. And so if Ethereum can tap into Bitcoin Cash's scaling, and Bitcoin Cash can tap into Ethereum's, I would say their network effects with tokens and decentralized finance, then that's a great synergy. You know what I mean? And why try to fight it?
Yeah, so the most used cryptocurrency for payments is Ethereum. It's number one, and Bitcoin Cash is number two. This is global. Bitcoin Cash is the second most used crypto for payments. Bitcoin Core (BTC) is basically it's collapsing its use case. It's really starting to fall off. A lot of people are switching to Bitcoin Cash or maybe Litecoin too. I'm not quite sure how Litecoin stands in this whole scheme of things. I hold Litecoin.
Me too. I hold Litecoin as well.
I'm holding more as a hedge. I do think that Litecoin is going to go places, but I like Bitcoin Cash better as payments, so that's why I'm more bullish on that.
I'm bullish on Litecoin because I think that this is a different off topic, but I think that there will be more than one store of value. I think that human beings do need more than. So I can actually see Litecoin being digital silver. I can actually see that.
Okay.
But I don't think. I do think Bitcoin Cash will be the dominant peer-to-peer cash player.
Okay. All right. Well, that's interesting.
Chain.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad it's good to talk to someone who agrees that Bitcoin Cash is I think it's is a better investment. Also, we can talk about that a little bit. And in my opinion, I'm not a licensed financial advisor. In my opinion, Bitcoin Cash is just so undervalued. And I think if you're going to look at it investment wise, in my opinion,
Yeah,
it's a better
I
investment.
agree.
It's a better investment.
And
So
and you have to realize some things too. If you're watching this, you need to research it for yourself. They FUD Bitcoin Cash hard.
yeah,
It just pumped pretty good recently, and they FUDded it right before it pumped.
right.
And there's a reason why they do that. And you may have been lied to about hash power. A lot of people think the hash power is bullish. It is, but it's not a leading indicator. And it took me a while to realize this. But if you go look at the charts, hash power follows price. Many people don't realize that. Pri- uh, Price does not follow hash power. So when more miners mine Bitcoin, price does not follow that.
Okay,
More
that's
miners are
interesting.
mining Bitcoin because Bitcoin went up in value.
Okay.
And price follows utility. And so I think we will see as Bitcoin Cash reaches closer and closer to parity with Bitcoin, miners will also, in the same ratio, start mining Bitcoin Cash. And
Okay.
there'll be
When
a
you
lot of fun about it. All the Bitcoin maximalists will freak out on Twitter, and they'll be like,
yeah
"Oh my God, it's a
yeah.
hostile takeover. The miners are taking us over."
Mm. Yeah,
But
I've seen the FUD. I've seen the FUD that's been that every time there's a Bitcoin Cash, something positive news,
yeah,
anything, there's a follow up behind that. That's interesting and a little bit. That's just the way it is. That's the way competition is, and
yeah,
people are trying to hold on to their best interests, and
yeah,
they do
and
whatever they can
right.
to hold on to it.
And there's a lot of false things floating around, and people don't realize how early it is.
Mm.
Bitcoin can be surpassed because we're not in the home stretch yet, but we're still in the first inning. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
right. Yeah,
And
yeah.
so Bitcoin could easily be MySpace, and Bitcoin Cash could easily be Facebook.
Hmm.
That could easily happen because we're
Hmm.
not even. Now, I don't think Bitcoin's going anywhere. I don't think Bitcoin's going to zero. I think it'll be digital gold like they want it to be, and it
Hmm.
will store value pretty well.
Hmm.
Uh, but we're still very early in this game, and to stop innovating on your coin at the first inning is a dangerous game
Yeah,
because
right.
it's
Right.
software. Software gets better every day.
Yeah, you have to improve on it. You have to
Yeah,
reprogram it all the time, and if you just let it sit, and you don't program a cryptocurrency in this case. You don't program a cryptocurrency and say, well, that's all we could ever do to it. It's finished,
right,
and
right. It's
yeah,
never
and
finished.
they have
Yeah.
in Bitcoin they've kind of the growth has stifled for sure on that. But um, well, Luke, this is I need to end this here. We're actually a little bit over 30 minutes, so I want to go ahead and end this call. This has been a fantastic call about Bitcoin Cash. I really appreciate you enlightening me and the viewers about some things I didn't quite know about the Bitcoin Cash. Is really interesting. And you have a YouTube channel, and I've seen some of your videos, and seen some of your Bitcoin Cash videos. So you want to talk about you have two channels actually. You want to talk about those?
Yeah, so my crypto channel, it's just like crypto and financial stuff. So I also talk about like real estate and like just I talk about like economic concepts on one channel. That's just Luke Pryor. That only has like 300 subscribers, I think.
Hmm.
My main channel that I actually run has actually nothing to do with crypto and investing. That actually has like
Okay.
5 or 6 thousand
Okay.
subscribers, and that's
Okay.
called Deep Healing Space, and that's all
Okay.
about healing your body with mineral science
Hmm.
and what we call development science, which is
Okay.
a different topic altogether, but it's
Okay.
related in some ways, right?
Okay. All right.
Um,
Well, I'll put a link in the description for both of your channels so they can check out either one.
yeah, okay,
So
sounds
this is
good.
great. Luke, this has been great. Thanks again for doing the call. And this is Digital Dave signing out. If you want to check out my new website, it's crazy4cryptos.com. Crazy, the number 4, cryptos.com. Digital Dave signing out. See you in the next video.